Well, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Anthony Dailley. I've been a practicing general dentist for 34 years now. Of those 34 years, I have been treating patients with chronic halitosis on a very regular basis. One of the biggest difficulties we have, and it is also the biggest cause, is the dry mouth area. And dry mouth problems seem to be a growing issue these days. It does affect all ages, but primarily it'll affect the older population a bit more. Reasons for that is slowing metabolisms, and the biggest one is probably all the medications that people are on. And as we age, we're going to be using more medications, and most medications out there tend to have some effect on the salivary flow. So because of that, this is kind of a focal area that we have in our practice, and it is a difficult one. There are a number of different products that we use for treating dry mouth, and sometimes dry mouth is as simple as just drinking more water, to resolve it. Unfortunately, that is usually not the case, but sometimes we're lucky enough, and that's what occurs. We have some products, a couple of our very popular products and more effective products we have are a couple of products called Salese and Dentiva. And these products have proven to be excellent. They're excellent for a number of reasons. One of them is the longevity. When someone has a dry mouth issue, the problem with it is that most products out there are very short-acting. And in fact, our experience with most products that you can buy in the drugstore, they just plain aren't that effective at all. So the Salese is probably the flagship of the products we use for dry mouth, and it lasts anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. We've had patients tell us they've had it last in excess of 8 hours. It does a number of things. It will stimulate saliva flow. It does affect the volatile sulfur compounds, so it does absorb them to some extent. And another beautiful thing about it is it has the effect of countering the bacteria. So there's some antibacterial properties. The Dentiva product is very similar to that, but it doesn't have the saliva stimulating properties that the Salese has. But these are the top, if you want to call them sellers, in our practice. Patients keep coming back to these time and time again, so we've been very happy with those. I just attended an oral medicine lecture a couple months ago, and one of the subjects that came up in that lecture was the subject of xerostomia, or the dry mouth syndrome. And during that lecture, the speaker started to discuss about some of the different causes of it, and which we kind of were familiar with already, but they were going to talk about what they felt were the best products for treating this. And when the slide came up, lo and behold, there was the Salese and the Dentiva up there. So we were pretty pleased that we both came to the same conclusion independently on that. So touching on the dry mouth subject, one thing that I left out earlier is that dry mouth, we'll oftentimes see people actually contributing to their own dry mouth conditions. And probably the biggest culprit of that is some of these mouth rinses that you see out there in the stores, and many of them have very high levels of alcohol. So these have actually produced some pretty dramatic changes in the flora in the mouth and the dry mouth issues that result in the evaporation of these odors. So the Salese and the Dentiva here are the products that I've been very happy with. Dentiva has a certain level of saliva stimulation in it that will help some of the milder cases of dry mouth. But when we get into our patients that have the more severe kinds of problems, this is where the Salese really comes in. So it has a better benefit in that department. Both of them have the same antibacterial properties and the same ability to absorb the volatile sulfur compounds. So I think overall, though, one of the biggest attributes is the longevity, because I haven't found a product out there yet that can last that long. And one of the biggest complaints we get from people with dry mouth is the products that are out there are very, very short acting. And so they're constantly having to pop things into the mouth. So the Dentiva and the Salese really satisfy that area, and we've been very pleased with it.